Lesson 85. The Rise of Joshua. God has the ability to raise anybody from the ashes, no matter how poor or weak you may think you are. The task that he gave Joshua was beyond his ability, and the weight Joshua felt in his shoulder after Moses died, leaving him with all the Israelites, thousands of them like the sheep without shepherd, was an unimaginable situation. But God had a perfect plan for him, and he chose him way back before he knew it for this very purpose. He knows what he wants in a person, and he sees you through your heart perfectly. There are things which you can learn from Joshua that God qualified him to become his own leader of the people. Things that made room for him to rise and become the great leader he is to take God's people to the promised land. First of all, it was his love for God that qualified him. It was in his nature to serve God and follow his commands. He knew what God wanted from him, and he never wavered to follow his own greed or ambition. One place that demonstrates this is when he and Caleb believed that they could conquer the Canaanites even though they felt like grasshoppers before them. This was against the bad report from 10 other tribe leaders and against the whole of Israel who feared to move up and fight. In most times we forget how God big is, and we give in whenever a situation hits us. When you allow fear to take over due to your current circumstance, you become blinded, forgetting there is a one who is greater than all things you see. This causes us to go off the rail and follow our own destruction, and hinders us to develop our vision and goals in life. Remember that when you start your journey with God, there is no way he will abandon you midway so that you will fail. Yes, there will be mountains to climb and hurdles to go through, but he will never leave you nor forsake you, and he will see you through to the end of your road. Second, it takes time. You have to understand there is a time from when you are chosen to the time when you become. Like Joshua, God chose him early on to become the leader of the people, but it took him about 60 years under the guidance and leadership of Moses before he actually took over. Even if you are ready, you need to have the patience to wait until it is your time, because if it is not, you cannot force it, and if your time comes, nobody can stop it. But how do you know your time is coming? Here is where patience is key, remaining under the mighty hand of God and following his leadership, doing what is right. The wait time is key because it is a test of your patience, character, and your discipline. You cannot just mess up your life and expect everything to move in your favor in the end. You need to be mindful on how you live your life. Make the best of every opportunity you get and continue to do what is right and just to the people around you, and in due time, God will lift you up and restore you to become what you are meant to be in this life. Thirdly, you must be strong and courageous. This is the one thing and message that God taught Joshua when it was his time to take over. Now that you have done all that is needed, you have been tested and tried and come up on top, and your time has arrived. It is your moment to move on boldly and take over what was meant for you. Because what has been promised for you is not for the faint-hearted but for the bold. There is no more fear and worry that can cloud your judgment, because you have one of the best companions that no one ever has. And that is God himself, who is there for you, directing you where to go and giving you victory in every move you make. He himself will take over your battles, and all you need to do is to take that first step. Joshua was God's representative. In reality, God was the king of Israel at that time, and Joshua was the one carrying the instructions for him. He was the one who gave him plans and tactics of war, and wherever he went, Israelites became victorious. Joshua was so close to God to the point that he asked God to stop the sun for the full day so that he conquers his enemies, and God listened. They formed a bond so strong that it became unbreakable. Your journey is the same, and the process you will go through has the same path. God knows who we are and who we are supposed to be before the making of the world, and He has predestined His purpose into our hearts generations before. As long as we stand by God, God will stand by us, and we have no reason to fear. He is the only one who will fulfill His promise to our lives, and He is the most loyal friend that we could ever have in our lives, no matter what happens, as long as we stay loyal to Him and follow His commands. He is our victory.